All right, stand by. Roll sound.
Speed.
Roll camera.
Speeding.
Slate.
Scene 1, take 1, mark.
And action. Hey everybody, how you doing? 2 o'clock on Friday, Burnie's Applebox. Here we are with my great, great friend, Erin Franklyn. Thank you so much for coming today, Erin.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Burnie. I'm honored.
Oh, great. That's great. You know, you are probably one of my longest Facebook friends. I remember we hooked up pretty early in my process of going on Facebook, and I've always been fascinated by everything that you do because you're very eclectic. I intersected you as a crew person through Facebook, but I noticed how many other things and interesting stories that you have, and then by chance, you moved down to Orange County. And of course, I was able to spend a little more time with you. Met your husband, Dan. He's an art distributor, manager, art consultant, and my wife is an artist. So they have had a chance to meet and talk to, and we've been out to dinner together. So
your wife is extremely talented.
I really appreciate. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And you know, we were just thrilled to meet Dan because he's such a wealth of knowledge. You know, and it has helped her immensely. You know, his advice and everything. So that's been great. So I knew you were always going to be a guest on the show. I just didn't know when. But hey, it's now. We got her. We got her, and she's here. Erin, you know, the thing that I want to tell you, Erin has an incredible history, an incredible Hollywood history too. The family has been 2 or 3 generations, I think, in Hollywood, producing, directing, and also acting. Your dad was an actor, but Erin was I guess below the line, if you will. Tell us all the locals. I know you're in Local 80. What are the other locals that you're in?
Well, I'm Union IATSE, Local 80 Grip, Los Angeles, and also 33 Stagehand.
Okay.
And then out here in Orange County, 504 Stagehand, and in San Diego, 122. So I sort of bounce around.
You worked the whole region, LA, Orange County, San Diego. That's kind of unique as well. Most people just sort of stay in their own little kind of geographic area.
I got gypsy blood. So
yeah, that's right. That's right.
I love meeting people.
Yes.
I love people in general. So.
That's great. That's great. Well, this is the best business for that because you meet everybody and hear about the rest. You know, so it's really nice there. You know, I know you grew up in Hollywood. Give us just a little background for yourself. Let us know where you went to school, grew up, a little bit of the family history too. I know that's a big order. If anybody said that to me, I'd have to go. Give me a minute.
Let me take some medication first. Or take their
just take their medication.
Yeah,
it'd probably be better. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was born and then I had a relapse. No, just kidding. Just kidding. But you know, I really believe that, as I've learned over the years, humor is the lubricant to the human condition. So it's over the years I've learned a lot of humor that's carried me through all kinds of situations, and so basically I grew up in Hollywood.
Okay.
Born and raised. My father was from Manhattan, New York, and my mother was from Canada.
Okay.
And they were both film industry. I was raised film family. My grandparents on my dad's side were film industry. My grandfather was writer and director in New York in the 40s and 50s, and he was one of the founding members of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences.
Oh, wow.
And he had also, in his latter years, he had a, oh God, what, lost for words. He had a press agency in Los Angeles, in Beverly Hills.
Sure.
And so, so there was that. and my grandmother was a young starlet in New York. She was Vampira.
Your grandmother was Vampira. Oh, that's awesome.
The original, not
Yeah.
not the newer.
No, no.
She was in a movie with starring. She was co-starring with Bela Lugosi,
Okay.
and then Bela died, unfortunately,
Yeah.
from certain circumstances. And so Ed Wood took this was an Ed Wood movie.
Now, was she in the movie in which he died? When he died, she was in that movie. Okay, very good. Ed Wood then took
Ed
over.
Wood took, well, no, he was the producer director of
Of the movie.
Well, the movie was called Vampire's Tomb.
Okay.
And Ed Wood was the producer director, and Ed Wood took the footage after Bella died and put it into Plan 9.
Okay.
So it was funny because some years ago, when I found out that there was a movie being shot called Ed Wood, I called and I talked to the line producer, and I said, "Did you know that my grandmother was opposite Bela Lugosi?" And they went, "Oh, well, we tried to contact you a year ago, and but you'll have to talk to our lawyers." And I said, "You know what?"
Oh my God.
And they were shooting it, and I said, "You know what? Just bring me on the set, give me some coffee, and send me on my nice way. Just be nice."
Yeah.
People
exactly.
don't pick and choose your battles.
Exactly.
It would have been nice to sort of.
Did they do that? Did they? No, they didn't. Yeah, I know. And you know what? There was the old Hollywood, which I never knew. You are more acquainted with it because of your family ties. And there's the Hollywood today, you know. And I think one thing, and this is, I know you feel this way too, is that the thing about the old Hollywood, when you got on something, if you were on the I Love Lucy show or you were on a movie or a TV show, everybody helped you. Everybody took care of you. They were looking out for you. The stars, right down to the crafty, everybody knew each other and you were a family. Today, it's and I'm not saying that the people are worse or it's bad or anything like that, but today it's not that. It has much more of a mercenary feel to it, I think.
I agree with you.
That people are, first of all, the money's huge now. You know, the money was good before and even great, but it's huge now. So people have that motivation, and I think that below the line, we still look out for each other. Below the line, we still are helping, you know, the new people coming in and working. Above the line, not so much. It's pretty much lawyers and, you know, accountants.
Yeah, it's not secret.
No.
I mean, Hollywood has always had its iffiness about it. So it's always had that. But you're right. There's something that's been lost.
Yeah, there is something, and it changes. And you know, certainly I can accept change. That's one thing. You know, but there's also time when I think you look back and you realize you've lost something. And I think that for me is looking at generally the standard and quality of movies. You know, movies are much less, in my mind, inspirational today and much more about the action, you know, much more about the chase, the thing. I remember going to a movie, and this is probably just like being a kid, right? You know, but, and this was maybe not even the best example, but I used to go watch, and it was 25 cents. It was in Lakewood, right, when I was a kid. And this is like late 50s, early 60s, and that cost $0.25 to get into the Saturday matinee. I would go see the Johnny Weissmuller Tarzan movies. And I lived for that day. You know, I lived for that day. If there was a new Tarzan movie coming out or a premiere, I mean, I felt like Tarzan. You know what I mean? I did that. I don't know that kids get that today. Maybe they do, but I just don't see it.
You know, it's funny you should say that, Bernie. When I was little, my father was an actor. My father was the, I can't believe I ate the whole thing, Alka-Seltzer guy.
Right. Now, and maybe a lot of people might not remember that, you know what I mean? But that was one of those viral commercials. Before viral was even a word they used with media. Right. You know, that one was everybody said that line. It was a little bit
that
like,
fed us for a while.
Yeah, I'll bet it did.
It was
I'll
national,
bet it did. Yeah, your family must have made a lot of residuals on that.
I still get my father's residuals.
Do you
Yeah.
really?
I got his pension, you know, when he passed.
Wow.
He passed away doing a Godfather pizza commercial. He passed away in the dressing room.
Are you kidding? Wow. Wow.
But he died
that's
doing what
something.
he loved.
Oh, absolutely. And any actor, that's where they want to die, right? They want to be
Well,
on
that
set,
and maybe
you
a
know.
couple other places.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
but
hey, I work with
the
the guys.
purposes of this
I work
show.
with this. Okay, we won't go there. But yeah, and some good times I remember. Getting back to when you were talking about the Johnny Weissmuller.
Right.
My dad and I used to go to, when I was little, my dad and I used to go to a theater on, I think it was on Melrose, close to Western, called, oh God, now I forgot the name of it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We used to sing, my father had an obsession with the original King Kong movie.
Okay.
And he was friends with the director.
Okay.
And so we used to go to the director's house, and the director had a big screening room in his house. So we would go and watch all the director's movies. So we would watch King Kong, Son of Kong, and other various different. And so, but when it would play at the movie theater, the Encore on Melrose Avenue, my father would take me there, and we would see every single showing. We would put. My father was brilliant. I kind of think that he was a bit of a savant. He lived 75 hours a day. He had over 30,000 books.
Wow.
And that was his fourth library, and everything was ABC
Alphabetically
and bro-darted.
right.
All the covers were.
Wow.
I mean, yeah.
A little maybe compulsive, obsessive, yeah.
And maybe a little eccentric. And so I grew up in a house. It was a Cecil B. DeMille studio.
Okay.
Between the Magic Castle and the Yamashiro in Hollywood on at 6909 Bonita Terrace.
Okay.
And it really was a sound studio in the 20s. And so the living room was about 30 feet tall.
Wow.
And then then you walked up it was up into the Hollywood Hills. It was like, the whole thing was like maybe 4 stories.
Okay.
And so it was pretty fascinating. And then they filmed A Star Is Born at our house with Chris Christopherson and Barbra Streisand.
Right.
And my father was really pissed off because at that time we had a landlord, and back then you didn't sign contracts for leases or whatever. So the landlord came to us and said to my father, "Why did you say no to those location scouts trying to, rent their place for A Star Is Born?" And my father says, I don't want production walking through my house.
Yeah,
I was like, get out of here.
Any actor knows that.
Yeah. And Eckhart, his name was Erkhart. He said, "Say yes. I'm having them call you." So we had to say yes. So then they were in our house for like a month.
Oh my God!
And
movie crew in the house for a month, and you were
yeah.
still living there?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah. And so my father was pissed off, and then my mother, she was my mother was a producer. She was working on, I think, at that time she was working on Sgt. Pepper.
Okay.
Over at
On Sgt. Pepper the album?
No, the movie.
The movie. Gotcha.
Sgt. Pepper's
Gotcha.
Lonely Heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was over at the old Desi Lou Studios, or Culver City Studios.
Gotcha.
And we used to go to. As a kid, used to go to screenings over at MGM, the old MGM, and other various. Do I need to speed up or?
Oh no, you're fine.
Oh, okay,
I don't know. Where are you going?
I don't know where I'm going. I'm going wherever the universe brings
you're fine.
me.
You're fine. Yeah, just keep. Yeah.
And on top of all of this, or along with all of this, my father was not just a writer and an actor, but he was also a Japanese film critic. So we.
Wait a minute. He was also a Japanese film critic.
Yeah.
How did
Well, he wasn't Japanese, but I mean, he was a film critic for the samurai movies. So, so my claim to fame, was it Tetsuya Nakadai? No, it was Toshiro Mifune.
Okay.
Was in our living room.
Okay.
And they put me. I was 2 years old. They put me on his lap.
No kidding.
My claim to fame, I peed on Toshiro Mifune's lap when I was 2. So that was. Hey. What can I say?
Yeah, you did. Probably not a lot of people can say that, Erin. You should be very proud.
So thank you.
Which, and I can't pronounce it. Toshiro Mifune.
Toshiro Mifune.
Toshiro Mifune. Yeah.
And my father was friends with Kurosawa, and so he was constantly.
So he really knew the Japanese film industry. He had a lot of connections in there and stuff too.
And I spoke Japanese when I was very little.
Okay.
But then eventually I lost.
And I noticed that on your Facebook page, your big picture, I don't know whether it's not your profile picture, but whatever it is, the cover picture, is the Magnificent Samurai 7. Is it a picture of that with Kurosawa?
That's the set of, what was this a set of? Good question. I should have.
Samurai 7?
No, it wasn't Samurai 7. It was, I think it was Red. Was it Red? I can't think right now. But anyway,
so
it
that
was a big,
from your past. That was probably
my father was on the set, and he was one of their critics.
Interesting.
So he was doing the promotional stuff.
And that was before Japanese film was really big in the United States. I mean, it had, and he's probably responsible for part of that, the introduction to it, because around the 70s, I remember, that was when I first started becoming aware of Japanese film. And you'd see a Japanese film, you go, oh, that's fantastic. Why don't they do that here? And then two years later, there was a major movie coming out with the same exact plot, only it's in Tombstone. You know?
Right.
So no, that was great. And of course, Godzilla. You know what I mean? As a Japanese film, I mean, when you're 10 or 11, that's the one you want to see.
Of course, I loved Godzilla.
I still like watching it when I have seen it. It's been a couple of years.
What was the little Godzilla that always blew smoke holes?
Oh,
that was my.
Yeah. I probably didn't like that one so well. I wanted death and destruction. That's all I wanted. Typical 11-year-old, you know.
Of course.
But so you had a very, I mean, not a normal kid's childhood, but a lot of opportunity to see a lot of things, meet a lot of people, and understand the business on a different level than most people understand it on. Because I think it's really tough for most people from the outside who are not involved with it to understand this business because it's so enormous. You know.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry.
No, go.
Growing up, I was growing up on the set, so I didn't think anything of it. I just was there. So I mean, when my mother was working on Sgt. Pepper, or she was working on Comes a Horseman, or Thaddeus Rosanetti, or The Howling. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. Or my father did several movies, and he was on like Starsky and Hutch and Beretta and Rockford Files. I mean, you name it. I mean, he's all over. I mean, just a long list. And I just knew these people, and they would come to our house, and I'm like, oh, okay, you know, I'm gonna go play in my room. And what was I gonna say?
But it was normal for you to live in that range.
Well, something that I grew up with is that, I mean, I appreciate artists. And my parents were very eccentric. So along with brilliance, because I think that my father might have been a little bit savant, because he had, like many people in this industry do, had a few different personalities. So I mean,
come on, Erin. No, everybody's a rock in this business.
So he had, there was a grounded personality, and then there was just a crazy personality that my mom had names for his different personalities.
Oh, okay. So they had actual names.
Yeah. Like his crazy personality when he'd be up at 4 in the morning writing a screenplay and hanging a painting in our 30-foot living room, and him stubbing his finger and him screaming at the top of his lungs, and the people next, in the area saying, "Freddie, shut up!" Just, he was from New York, so I mean, no holds barred. I mean, he just let my father. What you saw is what you got from him. If he told you he loved you, you knew he wasn't lying, because he didn't have a problem telling you if he didn't. Yeah. So he would just sort of let it all out. But yet he also knew how to schmooze. Yeah. So, I grew up playing Japanese games like Go. Okay. So by the time I was about 8 years old, I was like a four-dan. There's different terms for. Anyway, my parents were always having people come over, they play Hanafuda or Go, or Hanafuda was a...
Right. So what year was this that you were growing up? You were saying junior high, you were getting a little older. This was in the, what, 70s?
Well,
or early
yeah,
70s?
70s,
Yeah.
and then at the beginning of 80, I ended up going to Hollywood High.
Yeah, okay.
And
And what was it like, say, back in the day at Hollywood High?
well, see, here's what I was going to say, because I keep forgetting, yeah. So my parents, I grew up with like the Carradines had a kid. My parents were always hanging out over with Barbara Hershey and David Carradine in Topanga Canyon, or I mean, we were always hanging out with our people, or they were at our house. We're all dinner, eating together, we were family. So all of us kids were growing up together.
Right.
And so, Frank Zappa's daughter took my boyfriend away, Donovan, away from me.
Moon Unit would never do anything like that, Erin.
God bless
It's
her.
the guy's
I
fault.
forgive
Don't
you.
forget
I
it.
forgive you.
Don't forget it. It's the guy's fault.
And Free, who was David and Barbara's son, he grew up, and but a lot of us Hollywood kids, we went through kind of like a period of time. See, our parents were above the line, so we sort of like were in the shadow, and sort of a lot of us were kind of raising ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
And yet, there were good aspects about being raised in Hollywood, because we were taught, a lot of us, for those of us, we all know who we are, we kind of knew what was real and what wasn't real.
Right.
So, bright lights and glitter, that's all.
Yeah, that's all that's just business.
To me, yeah, exactly. To me, and I was bitter for a while. Mm-hmm. And I swore I would never get into the film industry because I thought everyone was nuts. And I was right. They are nuts.
Yeah.
But then after I ran a doctor's office for a psychologist for 8 years for victims of crime, I realized the rest of the world's nuts off.
Just as crazy, Erin.
So then I ended up marrying a federal agent.
Okay.
And that was a whole other interesting life. And that man retired, Daryl Carlson. He retired and he became a spiritual science of mind practitioner. So he was able to help, and that man, he's still a friend of mine, and he ended up helping so many people over the years.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because what I think that is so awesome, the awesome people I think that exist on this planet are people that have had the experience, the professional experience in life, whether it's film industry or law or medicine or whatever it is, and then also can kind of combine that with spirituality.
Yeah, yeah.
And it doesn't matter whatever your choice of spiritual grounding is. But I really believe that religion separates people, whereas spirituality brings everybody under the same roof.
That's a very good point.
So.
I think we're going to go to a little break right now.
Okay.
And so we'll be right back.
Burnie's workshop is fantastic. Burnie's workshop is awesome. Burnie's workshop is insightful.
Burnie, in one word, passionate maybe. You can tell he really cares a lot.
Burnie is a badass.
He's a great teacher. He has great stories, and I would recommend this to anyone. Not only someone like me who's starting day one, but I feel that in any profession, as you sharpen your sword, it always gets sharper.
I think the best thing about this is the access to understanding how to run your business, how to actually be in this filmmaking industry and make money at it. Coming to this workshop, I think, is what actually gets you the tools to understand how to do that, how to get out there and sell yourself.
I thought that was really cool. I thought, he knows all the tricks in the book, and he knows how to show that to us and actually demonstrate it so we actually know what he's talking about.
I really like the hands-on experience. That's something that you don't find a lot. That's something you have to go on set a lot to just appreciate.
I know this is a lighting seminar, but it's not only talk about lightings. He also share his business experience, personal experience, and guide us to what we should do, what kind of personality we should have in this business.
His stories, I think that kind of say everything, all in a few example stories that he gives out from time to time.
I would recommend this workshop to anybody who just spread into the industry, people who just don't know the swing of it. A lot of the stuff they don't teach you in film school.
I deal with a lot of freelancers every day, a lot of peers that I went to school with, a lot of professionals in the field, and they all need to take this class because it puts you on the next level, on the next playing field.
Burnie's a great guy. Burnie's really authentic. Like everything he learns, everything he teaches, the way he handles himself, the way he deals with other people, he's a one-of-a-kind guy. Someone I've never come across before in the industry, and someone I hope to emulate and hope that there are more people like him out there that can help.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm here with Erin Franklyn, and we're hearing about the kind of the crazy family life of Hollywood right now. Erin is somebody who's in Local 80 for sure, and you name the rest of them because I can't remember them.
Local 80 Grips, that's Los Angeles, 33 stagehands in Los Angeles, and then 504 stagehands in Orange County, and 122 stagehands in San Diego. So I sort of bounce around. In
awesome, awesome. And Erin was just telling us about the family life back then. And you know, Erin, it's funny, you bring up how crazy life was in Hollywood back in the 70s and stuff. As a kid who was growing up through the 70s in Tacoma, Washington, I can assure you nobody was any more sane than they were up there than they are in Hollywood. You know, I frankly think that, you know, not everybody, I guess, probably would share this, you know, that they believe the same thing. I think the post-World War II generation where our parents came from, and this is, I don't want to go too deep into this, but they were so traumatized by World War II and the Depression, which were on the heels of each other, that I think it really had and there was no treatment. Like nobody talked about, you know, post-trauma, anything like that, you know, that a lot of people were untreated. And I think in our time of growing up, I remember how prevalent booze was. I mean, everybody who was my parents' age was heavily boozing. You know, my parents, my mother didn't, but my father and certainly all the other relatives did. So I think it was just a crazy time for people. And I think a time that nobody kind of took care of themselves. They just pushed ahead. They were soldiers. They trooped ahead, you know, stuff like that. So I think for that whole era was pretty crazy.
People were doing the best they could.
Yeah, but you know what? That's the conclusion I've come up to. I've had issues with my parents, but you know what? These are people that were thrown into the world just like all of us are, and you grow up and go, where am I? What am I doing? How does this work? You know? And also, people weren't all given the same playing field to start out on. There are people who don't have much opportunity. There are people that have great opportunity. Some blow it. The other people, some of them rise above and go beyond and become the leaders of the world, really, you know? And so I think that you just have to really, exactly, when you get older, after you've dealt with the issues and stuff, you've got to forgive your parents, understand their people, and move on from there, move on. And I know that's something you've done, you know. Am I correct on that?
Well, to the best of my ability, I mean, is it okay to mention that there are some programs that I ended up joining, a couple, and they really helped me.
Yeah.
12-step.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I was told that I was told that 12-step programs are one of the best movements that's ever hit the world.
I think so. I think so. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Because you can be human there. You don't have to be something to be there. You can just be.
Yeah, and a lot of people just need permission to be themselves, to feel, to say, I like this or I don't like that. You know, there's not a lot of permission giving in society. Everybody wants you to conform. It's your job to say, no, this is the way I want to be, and be that way, and be an honest person.
And I'm a rebel.
Yeah.
You know, I'm rebellious. So, I mean, if it hadn't been as open as it is, the program, I wouldn't have gone in.
Yeah.
You know, if it had been religious or this or that or whatever, or had to be a certain way, I wouldn't have made it. So I was able to just really save my life.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And then I try to give back.
Yeah,
you know, give it back.
So how long have you been, let's just stick with Local 80 right now and talk about that. How long have you been with Local 80?
579 years.
That's quite a while.
Yeah.
That's quite a while.
No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
You must have all your days in.
Yeah, my pension and everything.
Yeah.
I joined in 95. So,
95, okay.
So that's Local 80 Grips.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe that they say that Local 80, they say that we're IATSE, International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees. They say we're below the line. But I'd like to see the actors be able to do what we do.
Well.
Which maybe some of them can, but I'm just saying that it really, I think that I ended up, I didn't want to get into the film industry, and after I ran the doctor's office for about 8 years, I ended up, I had our first child Christmas morning.
Oh boy.
And I wanted the same insurance I was raised on, which was motion picture. And so I didn't want to get in through nepotism. I didn't want to be one of those little nepotism brats.
Yeah.
And so I and then my father died, and then my mother said, F this business, and she went into politics. Like, that's a lesser evil, right? Yeah. And now she's actually, she ended up becoming sort of an advocate for women in the work world. Okay. And she ended up bringing money into California for women to work and have various different, she's been, I mean, I can only hope to be like my mother.
That's awesome.
She's been an amazing, yeah. Thank you. So I just derailed. What was I saying?
Just talking about work, and you got back into Local 80. You didn't want to become nepotism.
Yeah. So
see, I do pay attention.
Yes, you do. Thank you. Thank God. Yeah. I need certain angels on this planet to keep me, keep me in line.
Don't we all?
Yeah. And so after I had Dylan, my first child, our first, Dan's and my first child. He was born Christmas morning, and I just derailed again. Every time I go into emotion, sorry. So I wanted him to grow up on motion picture insurance, so I started dabbling and looking, knocking on doors with IATSE, various different departments, and the door opened up in Local 80.
Okay.
And they let me in.
Great.
And my brain has always been sort of a specific type of, IATSE is the island of the misfit toys.
Okay, I love that. I love that. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
So, and crew. And so we really, I mean, the stories that go on behind the scenes, some of those stories should be in front of the camera.
Yeah. Oh, I felt that way for sure.
And yeah.
So you were in IATSE.
I joined Local 80. And Local 80, as a Local 80 grip, the work actually formatted my brain. Because the way my brain was, I mean, I grew up, our family, the whole family is like
all over the place,
ADHD
right?
central.
Yeah.
ADD central. And so as a grip, it really sort of reformatted my brain, and I was able to compartmentalize my thinking. And so I was able to excel as a female. There aren't that many females in Local 80. It's a lot of people feel that it's, or think that it's a man's job.
Yeah.
I have seen women, Burnie, I have seen women. The first woman who taught me how to fold a mambo combo was 5'2".
Okay. Okay.
Amazing. One of the first women grips. One of the first 3 women grips.
Okay.
And so I've just seen women do amazing things.
I'm sure. I'm not surprised at all.
And then and so
what was the acceptance like for you when you first got in?
You got your garden variety.
Yeah.
When I first came in '95 as a Local 80 grip, there was still the old timers, and so the old timers would say, "Come here, kid. Let me show you how to do a bowline, and let me show you how to do tie this knot and whatever." And so they would teach you the right way. And sometimes they'd be a little
cranky.
But they taught you the right way.
Right.
And I listened.
Right.
And I earned my respect from them because I worked my ass off.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not supposed to say that.
No, that's fine.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And and then at some point many years later, the old timers started slipping away. So now we're the old timers. And the thing is, nowadays, you know, what happened after the old timers is the nepotism came in. And some of the nepotism was good and knowledgeable, and some of them weren't.
Yeah.
And so the ones that weren't wouldn't teach the new ones after that. So the generations have kind of gotten messed up. So now you have people like me who know about safety on the set. You know, I mean, I in spades, and as you do too. So we're the old timers, and we know how to protect the producer.
Right, right. And I'm glad you put it that way, because that is what we're actually doing. Everybody assumes we're protecting the crew, which we are, but you're really protecting the producer if you're giving him a safe set, him or her.
We have to, grips have to have, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Grips have to, and how much time do we have?
We're okay, just keep talking. I'll let you know when it's over.
Okay. Grips have to have an eye in every department.
Yes.
The other departments don't.
Yes.
We're not trying to control the other departments, but because we handle, us and a couple of other departments handle the safety on the set, we have to have an eye in back just to know what everybody's doing. So we know who, what, where, when, why, and how. And also when the producer comes to us at the end of Thursday and says, hey, look, we got 1 day, we're supposed to be out of here today. And we need 1 more day at the location, and we have 3 more days of shooting. Do you think you can, and we don't have we can't buy this such and such or whatever. Do you think you could build it? Or what do you know, could you talk to us?
Can you make it makeshift?
So so basically we're the ones that end up saving the producers, you know what?
Right, so many times. And that's our job as crew people, I think. You know what I mean, is to go in there. These people are hiring us. You know, the one thing I tell my crew and stuff is like, the client is probably not on set every day, just like you are. They're on set maybe once or twice a month, maybe a little more, you know, it doesn't matter. Their client is maybe on set once a year, maybe twice a year, even less. So when you're there, it's sort of like you've got a guest in your house. Even though the producer is putting it on, we're the guys the people on the floor who are making everything happen. And you have to remember that. You have to remember
we're manning their ship.
Yeah, we're manning the ship. We're the crew. We're the crew. So yes, the same thing, and I think that's so important to do. Now, tell me, in IATSE, when did you join IATSE? How long have you been in that?
95.
95, so same time. So you joined both unions at the same time, is that correct? Or in the same year, I guess?
No, just one union.
Oh, just one union. So it's 2. Did it split out then? I'm not sure of the history.
Of other locals, you mean?
Yeah.
See, IATSE is international.
Okay.
It's, I mean, excuse me, it's all over the world.
Okay.
It's
international.
So every state, every country, other countries have a different way of dealing with things. Here in the United States, usually a state will have one or the various different cities will have one local for every department. Like LA has Local 33 stagehands, and they have every department in those stagehands. But California and New York are the only 2 states that actually have other locals for other departments.
Oh,
like here in Los Angeles.
It's all covered through IATSE.
No, IATSE is the umbrella.
Yeah,
that's the umbrella. Under IATSE is all these different locals.
Oh, okay.
In California and New York, there's a local for every department.
Gotcha.
Like grips, electric, da-da-da-da. But usually there's just one local in a given city.
Area.
Yeah. So, but California is
because of the size of the industry out here in both places, New York and LA. I'm sure that's why it was that. You go back to somewhere like Kansas City, they're probably only covered all under IATSE because it's easier to manage
under one local.
Under one local.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, I mean, what I mean by local is a number, one number.
Yes.
Like in LA, it's local 33. But see, what happened was it used to be all under Los Angeles used to be all under IATSE, and basically one umbrella under that. But what happened was the producers wanted to be able to put some of their kids in higher positions, and so they decided to develop various different locals for the different departments.
Right.
And so, but there was still Local 33, but what ended up happening is Local 33 ended up having jurisdiction over soap operas, game shows, live venues like concerts and industrials and things like that. Whereas the other locals, and we got jurisdiction. So I'm 33 and the other locals. So the other locals. So here's 33 with basically soap operas and industrials, concerts, and game shows and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then the other locals, which I'm also in, Local 80, and I used to be 600. I started out in camera. So the other locals basically we got jurisdiction over features. So whereas basically 33 got jurisdiction over, as far as television and film, they got jurisdiction over the television.
Right.
So so it's kind of, it's kind of like a little weird, but these are details that nobody knows about. And then in Orange County, 504, that's stagehands, that's just one local. And then in San Diego, they have local 122 stagehands, and then they also have the film locals, and they just recently merged. So things are changing, and then I'm sure in other states there's other variants of this, that, and the other things. So a lot of it's politics or whatever, but as far as I'm concerned, at the end of the day, what I love the most, in a nutshell, about, and that's the other thing is I really enjoyed coming in under the quote unquote, what's the word for it? I need more coffee.
Umbrella?
I enjoyed, there's above the line and below the line. As far as I'm concerned, there's neither. There's no separation. We're just human beings, and we're creating art.
Right.
But for,
business purposes, it's different, and it's big, huge international business now. Most films, the old days, the Warner Brothers, the Selznicks, whomever, they used to find financing for their films locally. You know what I mean, within the country. And now it's a whole different thing. In fact, China is probably going to be taking over the film industry in the next 20 years. I think that's...
They already are.
They already are. Yeah. Already are.
We're also seeing a lot of other money coming from other countries as well.
Oh yeah, big time, big time. I think we good for a commercial? Okay, let's go to a break and we'll be right back with Erin Franklyn. Grip and Lighting in Los Angeles, Grip and Lighting. We pride ourselves on not only renting you the best equipment, but also giving you the best crews. And one of our core values here at Burnie's Grip and Lighting is that we give you the highest production value in the world. And remember, people used to say national, local. No, we present world-class production value on every set. We also know budgets are very tight these days, and you've got 10 hours to get what you need in the can. We move ahead, we move fast, and we know what you need. When you rent from Burnie's Grip and Lighting, you have a partner on your production for that day that is making sure you are well taken care of. So anytime you're in Southern California, give us a call at 714-609-3545 and we'll take very good care of you. See you on set. Hey everybody, we're back here with Erin Franklyn. Hi Erin.
Hey.
And we're covering it all today. We're talking about growing up in Hollywood, working in Hollywood, making money, not making money, all that good stuff. So Erin's giving it to us today. And Erin, you know, you're in the local 80, you're working locally, and you work around here. And I'm looking down at right now at your steel tipped boots. Yeah, there they are. So you put them up there again. They didn't get that.
There might be something on the
that's
heel.
okay. That's okay.
I hope there's nothing.
That's okay. We're not rated. We're not rated. Yeah.
There we go.
That's Erin's steel toe boots right there. So I'm showing you where she's been, what she's doing. And you worked today, right? Yeah.
Last night, actually.
Last night. Oh, so you worked all night. What were you working on?
Well, sometimes this was a rigging crew. It was a rigging job.
Okay, sure. Yeah,
And
rigging
so
job.
I'm
That's
actually,
awesome.
sometimes I can mention what I'm working on, and sometimes I can't,
Yeah,
because I have to sign an NDA every
I
time.
gotcha. Yeah.
But a lot of times I work on the show The Voice. I've been working on The Voice for the past couple of years, and on the rigging crew, and we come in and build up and tear down.
Okay.
And then we'll work the show.
Gotcha.
And then a couple of years before that, I worked a couple of years on The Mentalist, and then a couple of years, and then like 3 years before that, it was Gilmore Girls, and then before that, it was, it's been X-Files and features and this and that. I mean, just on and on and on. We just go.
Yeah, no, it never stops, you know. And, you know, it's funny, people go, oh, it's so cool, you work in that industry and you do everything, and I say, it is cool, and I do love it. Mostly what I love about it is it's so short and you're on to the next thing all the time. You know what I mean? It's like the phone rings, it's like the lottery. You never know what's coming next, you know? And I think,
and yet there's a sadness to that too, because you become family.
Oh, you relate to people. But, you know, it's funny, in my world, I kind of see all those people all the time anyway, you know? But you do on a show, you very much become family, you know? And you have people that you can't wait to work with again, and other people that, we'll go a few shows without seeing you, yeah. So that's the way it always
You
goes.
sociopaths, no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. Hey, we're in
There's
California.
Well, there's always duct tape, right?
That's right. That's right. Anything works. Anything works. So, you know, in doing that, you're working every day. Give me sort of a range. And I know you because you work from San Diego all the way up to LA. Where's most of your work? I would guess LA. Is that right?
Well, couple of things, because I know we don't have much time. What was I going to say? I've actually been working on and off with a company called Mob Media.
Yeah.
And that's out here in Orange County.
Yeah, I know Jeff.
Yeah. They are Jeff and Paul. They're basically a one-stop shop. They're an advertising agency and a studio. So they shoot commercials and movies and you name it. And then they've got, you know, the one-stop shop. They've got all the posts, and they also do the advertising. So and the social media, I do their SEO work.
Oh, great.
And so on and so forth. So so I'm working with them right now a lot, and I also want to mention. I'm working with. And I just did Cinegear.
Yeah, you were a judge. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay.
So you were up Cinegear and you were judging the booths, right? And tell me how that works. What was it? All booths in the thing? You were working for Cinegear and giving awards for different booths that did things well.
In a nutshell, I've been going to Cinegear for many years. They've been a big part of my family, film family.
Sure.
You know, and it's almost like a reunion every time you go there, because every few feet you don't end up seeing everything because you keep talking.
You haven't seen in a long time. Yeah.
Exactly. And so a couple of years ago, I was asked to be a judge, and I was very honored. And so I've been a judge ever since. And as a matter of fact, the other night I stayed up all night because I helped somebody else with their spreadsheet to put their votes on, and he and I, Harry Rez, we're kind of like partners in crime. We would hold each other up when we were falling asleep in the sun and Cinegear this year and last year was on the Paramount lot. Was it before that?
I think the last three or 4 years has been
at
Paramount.
Yeah, and so so we interviewed. We started. This year was more. This year there were actually more submissions for equipment, and we didn't have as many judges as we needed, and yet we had more judges than last year, which means it's growing.
Yes, it has grown. I've noticed that.
Yeah.
So tell me about this. Do people, individual vendors at Cinegear, enter the contest?
Yeah, they sign up online.
They signed up. Okay.
And then there's certain criteria they have to fall under.
And then tell me what you're judging them on.
Oh God.
Just give me a list of 5.
A list of 5?
Or whatever.
Well, I personally like when equipment is modular. I one of the criterias for submission is that it either be a new product or an old product with an addition to it. It has to have something new on it or added to it or changed.
So you're looking at a specific product that they want you to be judged on and how well that product is improved or how well it operates.
Well, we're given spec sheets at the beginning of Cinegear every year, and these are submissions from all these different booths. And so we have to go and interview all of those people and basically look at them, the demos and various different aspects of it. And then we all kind of go and do our deliberations, and we sort of talk back and forth amongst us judges and sort of come to a conclusion.
How many contestants were in it this year? How many
God.
people did you have to do that for?
Over 100.
Over 100, so
Yeah,
that's a big job.
And so there, basically, there was more. I don't know.
Because
see, there's so many different departments.
Yeah.
See, because we've got Harry and we're the grips, but I'm also a stagehand, so I do everything.
Yeah.
I do all the other. I do lighting, I do props, I do everything. And Harry has been a major key grip for umpteenth years, and families, sons, so on and so forth. So, and then then we have the other judges are either DPs or gaffers or just incredible professionals in the industry. And so we all get together at the end. It was interesting because when the first time I came in as a judge, I sort of, at the end of one of the days, the guys were like, oh, okay.
I'm dead.
And I went in there and I cracked the whip and I went, get up. I said, here's some coffee. It's just sort of like I went in there and said, okay, we got to get this done by tomorrow, the end of tomorrow. I'm not sitting around.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do this all for, so pick up, but we had a good time, you know what I mean? And it was, and so we did that again this year, and it was just really cool.
Is there an overall winner in the competition? Who won this year?
Well, I just stayed up all night. 2 nights ago, I stayed up. Oh no, it was last night. I'm so tired. I worked.
You worked.
I worked last night, and then I came home, and then I had to submit the rest of my votes.
Oh,
so I had to stay up. So I have not been to sleep.
Oh wow.
So we'll find out who's, because what they have to do now is tally up everybody's votes and then come to the conclusion.
Okay.
And so last year it took us like 3 weeks. This year it's happening a lot faster.
Wow, that's incredible.
Our lead judge is a guy by the name of Peter Anderson.
Okay.
And he was the DP on Close Encounters.
Oh, cool.
So I mean, I was just like, when I was first asked, I was like, it's just like, wow,
No kidding.
Talk about nostalgia. And some of these other DPs and gaffers, I mean, some of the stuff that they've worked on is just the history amongst us, just to sit amongst everybody in one room and have us all.
Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible.
The energy is incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me, how does somebody get a hold of you if they need to get a hold of you? Do you have a contact website or anything like that?
Well, I am on IMDb. I'm also on Facebook.
Okay.
Erin, E-R-I-N, and then Franklyn with an F-R-A-N-K-L-Y-N instead of I-N.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say my phone number live.
Yeah,
but,
don't do
but
that.
Yeah. But
although I do it every day, nobody calls me.
Oh.
So don't worry about it too much. I couldn't put my phone number out there any more than it is.
Well,
I can't say that. People do call me at work. So.
I just, do I have another minute or something?
I'd have to charge you for it.
Oh,
No,
okay.
go ahead. Go ahead. This one's a freebie.
Thank you, thank you. I wanted to mention something. I met recently a woman, and her name is Marla Stone.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just this incredible woman. I'm joking with her now. I'm calling her a muse.
Mm-hmm.
She's, I'm going to film her life story.
Oh, awesome.
She's just about to publish her book,
Mm-hmm.
her main book. She has had, and I haven't read her book, but I know some of her history. She was a social worker for many, many years, and then she ended up becoming a life coach, incredible life coach, and she's got all of these different abilities under her belt, and including she goes into people's homes and brings their life back to order, and whatever it is that they need back to order, whether it's something spiritual, mental, clutter, hoarding, you name it. She's a muse. She's got
Sounds like an amazing woman.
I decided to start hanging out with her and start helping out. And what's actually happening is I'm starting to get motivated to be more orderly myself because I got lazy after many years. Because you know, you come home from a long week.
Yeah, you don't want to do housework. That's for sure.
You know,
that's for sure.
But I'm starting
That
to.
sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Well, Erin, thank you so much. Thanks for being our guest today.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
I'm honored.
Course. Yeah, we'll do more down here.
Cool. Awesome.
All right. Well, that's it for Burnie's Applebox today. Thanks for stopping by. 2 o'clock Fridays. Check it out. We'll always be here. All right. See you then. Bye-bye. Cut. That's a wrap.